Well, hey guys, today I'm going to actually give you a quick tutorial on actually how to get your USB, Windows 10 bootable device get picked up on this Samsung. The model here, as you can see it here, it's the NP535U4C model, and I'm pretty sure that you can use this on very similar models in on older laptops too, or probably even newer ones. The one thing I noticed that it didn't matter if you were disabling the secure boot or the UEFI and stuff, and enabling the AHCI, it wouldn't change anything in the boot sequence. Normally here when I was doing it, my Kingston data traveler wasn't showing up. The only two things that was showing up here was just the SSD that I put in for my client, and the CD burner that actually came with the actual laptop. So if you look at the two items here, these things would actually not show up. So I'll show you how to do that and get that to show up into in your boot. So the first thing you want to do is just power up your system and just make sure that you tap on the F2 key a few times right when it's powering on. And once it does power on, it'll actually go into the BIOS, and this is the BIOS here. So like I was mentioning before, the AHCI was already enabled, which is perfectly fine. And the if you look at the secure boot here, you got, by default it's actually set to enable. So you just make sure that you move your up and down arrow mouse to the secure boot section so that it highlights white, like what you see up here, but bring it down here to make sure it highlights white, and then press enter once, and it'll give you the option to enable or disable the actual secure boot option, and just make sure you go to disabled. And as for the OS mode selection, by default it's set to the UEFI OS. So make sure that you change the selection by moving down the arrow one more selection and choosing the CSM and the UEFI OS. And then once you've done that, and this is the other important one here. This is what I noticed, because I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on, because no matter what I did, nothing would actually change. So the one thing that you have to do is here, by default here with the fast boot mode, it's actually enabled by default. And this is where the most important thing is. You have to make sure that you select this and disable the fast boot mode. And once you've done that, just go to the menu here. Sorry, give me 2 seconds here. I'm gonna find it here. And once you made those three changes there, by disabling the fast boot mode, disabling the secure boot, and changing your OS mode selection to the CSM and the UEFI OS. And once you've done that, you just basically go to the exit section here on the far top right hand corner, choose the save changes and reset, and once it does that, it will actually prompt you to see if you want to save the changes. Say yes, press enter, and then it will actually reboot the system. So as you're rebooting the system, just make note quickly, make sure that you hold down the F10 key, because that's your boot option key for this laptop. It doesn't give you an option to press F10 at the boot up, so you just have to know that F10 is the boot option key that shows you your boot sequence, or your bootable devices. So once you press the F10, now you'll actually see this highlighted properly, so that it picks up your it doesn't matter if you have a Kingston or other brands, flash drive that you mounted your Windows 10 into it. Like I said before, you normally just see these two here, and you won't see this. So since my Kingston Data Traveler, as you can see here, it shows two different options, but what you want to choose is the UEFI option, because you're installing Windows 10. Because if you go down to Kingston Data Traveler 3.0 down here, it will not boot off of the Windows. You actually have to choose the one that says UEFI. So it doesn't matter if yours is a Patriot drive or Kingston or other brands. Just make sure that you choose the bootable option that states the UEFI. And then once you press enter, it'll be perfectly fine. Then you should actually be brought to this menu here. And I wanted to make a quick note that if you guys have never reinstalled Windows 10, this is a very important note. So as you go through the few 3 or 4 or 5 transitioning stages of these screens, by pressing next, agreeing with the licenses and all the other stuff, just make note that when you choose the custom, which is actually right before this screen here, if you are not upgrading your hard drive to an SSD, then you will most likely see a bunch of partitions here. It could be between 3 to 5 or 6 different ones, because Windows 10 will actually create a bunch of other rescue partitions and other stuff. So just make sure that as long as you've backed up all of your data, just make sure that you what you have to do is for you to actually install a brand new Windows 10, you have to delete. It doesn't matter if you have 3, 4, or 5 partitions. You have to select each one of them and delete them all to the point of where you're going to see one physical drive that's actually available. So once you're actually the state here, because you only see one for me, is because I'm actually upgrading my client's a mechanical drive to a 2.5-inch SSD. So she wanted a 512, and this is what she's getting. So once you do see this, or once you get yourself from 3 to 5 partitions to a single partition, just go to new. It's gonna prompt you if you want to, just to click OK. Just agree with the creation of the partition. Then once you do that, you'll be good to go. And just make note that once you do see the next screen, it'll actually say starting to install Windows, and it should take about 5 or 10 minutes to do that. And the other important note to do is that when you're prompted to restart the first time, because you'll see a bar that runs down, I think it counts down to a 10-second, and make sure that once you press restart and it reboots, make sure to remove your USB flash drive, the Windows 10 flash drive that you use to install Windows 10, because in many laptops and desktop systems, if you don't pull out the USB flash drive, it will automatically run through the cycle of trying to reinstall Windows 10 all over again. So remember, pull out your flash drive on the first prompted restart, and then it will actually do the continuation on its own, and then you guys will be good to go. So I hope this helps you guys out, and you guys have a good day. Cheers.